at Atlanta Motor Speedway to see which driver can conquer Hotlanta. Welcome to FDF.GG's coverage of tonight's action for what's expected to be an action-packed Golden Corral 500 here in Hampton, Georgia. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's action is Jacob Hitt with our producer Zach Johnson, as we are just about set to see which driver can conquer the very treacherous, very slippery Atlanta Motor Speedway. Before we get to the discussions about tonight's action, it's time to take a look at how these drivers will start from Georgia. On the pole tonight in qualifying by nearly a full tenth of a second for the Wood brothers, it's Thomas Lewandowski. He'll start alongside Christian Budd, who's amongst the top 5 in the points. Nicholas Doucette, your series points leader, starts in third. He's been dominant in most circuits this season, with Gabriel Mauricio, the qualifying king, in fourth. Dylan Roberts carries some momentum from Las Vegas in fifth, with Marcus Lindsay making Mark Martin proud in the sixth in P6. In P7, making Robbie Gordon proud is Ryan Doucette, with Larry Pace in the 50 and 8th. Rounding out your top 10 for tonight's action will be the 07 of Logan Kress and the Everham Motorsports machine of Brennan McGee.
Philip Snipes gets us going in the 11th starting spot, with James Holzer lining up in position number 12, Jose Solis Jr. in 13th, with Anthony Krobach in 14th. Sean Peleg and Timothy Latham make up row number 8. Alex Bates and Christina Ryan in row number 9. Parker Alexander and Sean Butler rounding out the top 20.
21st spot goes the direction of Dustin Montgomery. For the 01 machine, William Bosbert, who is amongst those who qualified his way into the non-charters, in 22nd. Then it's Kyle Kraus, continuing to look strong in that number 60. The No Fear machine starts 23rd, alongside Ali Osman's 25 car. Rounding out the top 25 of those who set times in the field tonight is Robert Gray. He'll be driving 34 and sim, but he is representing Kirk Shelberdine's number 27. 26 went to Brendan McKissick. He did not make the starting grid, however, so that will move Aaron Smith up a slot. Zach Campbell's in 27th on speed. Alex Kolinix, who showed great speed at Las Vegas, 29th. 30th, John Schwartz.
31st will be Justin Rowden, and 32nd, Emily Howell. 33rd, Casey Carrington with Leandro Moreira in 34th, Ken Huff and Hayden Reppes. Rounding out our field of 36 tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Justin?
So 36 drivers making the field for tonight's action. Jacob, your quick thoughts on this evening, because 50 laps are up on the board for tonight. You'll just expect to make this a one-stopper. Real quick, your expectations for Hotlanta.
Well, this puts the hot in Hotlanta. The track is very, very warm. The track temperature up over 130 degrees. It is very, very warm. I know the sim time is set for July. The sun beating down on the racetrack. These guys are going to be loose, and there's not going to be a lot of grip for these drivers through these 50 laps tonight.
We're all set to go for racing from Atlanta. This is the Golden Corral 500 here on FDF.GG. Tom and Lewandowski in control of the field. Green flag is out. We're underway from Atlanta. And 3 wide for the race lead already. On the high side, it's Christian Budd. On the inside, taking the point for the first time around, is Nicholas Doucette. And now Adam 5 bonus points for leading that lap, and it's not a surprise to see the 24 up early. The 24 has been quick from the get-go this season, Jacob.
A lot of speed out of that 24, and that 21 right behind him of Lewandowski, just kind of sliding through the field, stuck in the sucker hole in that middle line. Here comes Mauricio, I can read. Mauricio in that 31 in that third spot, trying to work the 2 lanes with Lindsay and Roberts right behind him.
Up at the stripe, meanwhile, at the other side of the pylon, it is Christian Budd who has taken the lead lap this time. And And these are two of the quickest drivers when it comes to speedway competition this year. These were two drivers who fought hard at California in the second race of the campaign, and Bud was in the conversation much of the time at Las Vegas. Stellar start for the both of them as they built up about a 5-car length advantage here, Jacob, from Marcus Lindsay, who's up 3.
Yeah, these two at the very front of the field in Bud and Doucette, they've just kind of... They're not racing each other too much. They're kind of just letting the laps go by a little bit. While these guys further back, Lindsay, Mauricio, Roberts, they are all over each other, just scrapping for every position they can. I think that just shows how these different race cars play out. Your top two really think that they've got the fastest cars in the field, while those behind them are just scrapping for anything they can get right now.
You look at some of the battles fair right now. Mauricio stuck along the top line, a bit of a check up in the gas, and a little bit slippery. And this is a different trend than most people were showing in practice, in final practice specifically for tonight's action. Most drivers tested along the outside wall, like you're seeing Dylan Roberts now. The bottom's been rolling to start though tonight.
Yeah, these guys have been able to use the bottom to work really, really well so far. And normally you think of Atlanta and you're going to have a lot more action up by the wall, but not yet. These guys have been tucked pretty close to that white line since the drop of the green flag.
Shortest distance around, keep in mind here, but of course the top line, but the momentum could be stellar for some. Let's take a look towards where the 99 is fighting for the battle for 10th. You have Sean Butler in the midst of things, and it's been an intriguing story when it comes to the 35 this season. Snipes gets a little bit loose 3 wide with that car. Oh wow, the race lead is back up for grabs again. It is Doucette at the bottom. On the top side is Christian Bud. Bud, with the better run, able to hold on for now.
Dare I say too much action so far early on in this thing? You've got action in the middle of the pack. Sean started 20th. He's already getting close to the top 10. You got these guys battling for the lead, and NASCAR, you shall receive. Bud and Doucette now, they go from the bottom. They're going to start drifting up to the top of the racetrack. I think it's about the time in the run. There's some smoke on the back straightaway there. Alex Bates, I think, went around. But, man, I tell you what, these guys now are starting to move up closer to that outside wall.
And keep in mind the reason for the no caution was that was a single car incident below the white line. If it impedes race traffic, that would trigger the caution in turn. Bates is now in 36 for reference. There's that top line now coming to play, exactly what we're talking about. But we were also talking about moments ago, one driver who's still using the bottom line behind all of this. Remember the 35? He's one of the few still on the bottom, and he's now up 10 positions. And remember, this is a car where it's been mentioned how he was able to pick up a car from Petty Enterprises for the start of the season. He's now bouncing his car off of Chris and holds onto it. 3 wide with Solis Jr. on the outside, pulling clear. Oh, and Holzer peeks it in.
Yeah. That was scary. There's no doubt about it. They're going to keep it 3 wide. Up around the outside comes the 09 of Holzer. And Kress is just hanging on to the middle, hoping that Sean doesn't come up and pinch him again. Here comes the 48 of Peleg. He goes to the outside, and they'll finally sort it out as Kress just says, all right, enough of this. I'm getting out of here.
And these General Tires really getting to work as Kress slides up the track. One of the drivers coming in behind. A shockingly rough qualifying day for Zach Campbell, who was in the midst of the photo finish at Las Vegas. Reason being, he set no time in qualifying. He was top 5 in practice. He's up 15 and trying to pass Butler now in the bottom.
Yeah, what I find really interesting about that is both Sean and Zach have been able to carve their way through the field, but I would imagine as this run keeps on going, the tires are going to wear a little bit more, and it's going to become harder for them to pass. So I would think I would rather start at the front of the field and try and stay up there, have a better shot at getting to the front and to the very front in the lead than it is to carve your way through the field by the end of the day.
And an incredible run to start off this race. Cautions have bred cautions for much of the start of the season. One of our longest runs to start off a race in 2006 so far. Now Campbell to the inside. And keep in mind, he's a notable driver to watch for, because while he's also been quick, he's also a Porsche Taycan Esports Super Cup World competitor when it comes to the virtual world. He's pulled away from the pack you just seen with Logan Kress and company, already nearly about a full second back of this.
Logan Crest just about ate it coming off turn number 4. He was down on the white line, and that thing was a loose. That allowed the guys behind him to catch up in Snipes, in Kroback, McGee. They've all caught him, and they're just trying to get by him right now. That 07 is plummeting and plummeting fast.
Crest slip and sliding, a former eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competitor in the late 2010s. When it comes to rear-world competition, that 07 trying to be high wide into the top line, but not really making it stick around. And that's the tough thing about this racetrack, Jacob, is managing the tires. It's been expected to be slick for a reason, not just with the track temperature, but in regards to Atlanta's history long run, when you have low downforce, you're likely getting loose on corner exit at this facility.
Oh,
Speaking
look at
which,
18 down to the grass.
that is Anthony Kroback able to save onto it. And what's that mentioning of timing? The 18 to the very back, the J.J. Yeley machine for Joe Gibbs Racing to the back end of the top 30.
Yeah, just as this run goes on, and it's only a 50-lap race. We're almost a third of the way through it, and these guys are still just screaming on their tires right now. And this middle of the pack, I think, is where we're seeing the most tire wear at this point and the least amount of grip, just because they've been digging, trying to catch up to the leaders. Now they're starting to fall off and lose time, and the tires don't have as much grip because those at the front, yeah, they may have been a little more conservative with their tires so far to start this race. As we got the 2 up and into the wall, Parker Alexander, he gets it off the wall and keeps it going good. The 45 got a little loose. They all hang on off 2.
Codex with an incredible save as one driver's already indicating they need to pit, and we're 15 laps in. An interesting decision coming from John Schwartz, the 95, who is in 27th. The window is now open, apparently. He's electing to go for the undercut on his competitors here.
Well, you got to keep in mind, these fuel cells are only 35% capacity, so they are going to have to pit before this thing is said and done. And Marcus Lindsay in that 3rd spot, the 6th, the Mark Martin machine, he says that he's coming on pit road this time by, and it sounds like he's going to be bringing a lot of friends with him.
If this is the case, it's looking like, based on the projections, a 2-stopper from this point now. This, again, would be our first green flag stops of the season.
Oh.
Several nearly colliding. Zach Campbell nearly ran over James Holzer. One more is spinning on entry, and that is Emily Howe holding on to it. No speeding penalties, though, for many of the drivers.
Yeah, they all survived, and I'm not really sure how, but pitting here under green is pretty tough, especially on these Ward tires. I'm curious to watch the rest of these guys come down pit road. Some of these guys that stay out, they may be the smart ones, just trying to keep the cars clean, as the 11's just drifting it onto pit road of Jose Solis Jr. Looks like everybody for now is going to be okay. There goes the 00 round.
And it is Aaron Smith II who is electing to just continue through the grass as he has knocked the commitment cone into the infield. McKissick holds onto it in the background. Aaron Smith II is really trying to avoid an unsafe pit entry here by running this grass. That's why he's staying to the right of that cone. I don't know if that's going to help, though, since he may have hit it.
Well, he did hit it. He still doesn't have a black flag. My question is, was it worth it just because you lost all that time and you still need to pit? If you pitted, yeah, you'll still have the penalty, but how much time do you gain from just going around and trying it again?
At least 15-20 seconds, we'll say. At minimum, he did not get the black flag because he did not technically enter the lane, and he's nearly spun it around again. This time, he stays within the cone. And now he's into the lane. More pit stops expected this time by. Lewandowski is staying out of the racetrack, though. Going for the overcut, it looks like, Jacob, at the moment, compared to those prioritizing tires.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work out for him. Unless he gets a caution, which, I mean, if you look at the middle of this pack right now, back around where Jose Solis Jr. and alike, they were all over each other trying to go 4 wide a lap ago. So these guys are racing really, really hard on these new tires, and that may be enough to help as we got the 89 in the grass on the front straightaway.
Repez, yeah, it's the Morgan Shepherd machine cutting through the infield at more than 100 miles an hour. Another driver has overran the pit stalls. The 60 also overran their stall, but they had made the commitment cone. So Hayden Repez, who has missed the pit entry 2 times already, Jacob, not having a good season. More battling, though. Let's take a look at some of those battling with the strategies. Bud, with his pit call, has actually gained more than 2 seconds on the 24 and the 50 in this grouping.
And Lewandowski just came onto pit road, your race leader, so that's going to move Kolonix to the lead pack. No, he's going to pit as well. So that puts Osman in the lead in the Brian Vickers 25 machine. But you're right, Bud has really, well, I would say he's gained some time, at least on Doucette, but now the 6, Lindsay, is in front of him, which is not the case when they came onto pit road. So Marcus Lindsay does the best out of all of those guys up at the front of the field to try and take the lead away once these things cycle out.
And here's the stunning part. Times now normalizing with some of the drivers being passed on their pit exit. Lindsay, who, mind you, also was one of the first eNASCAR competitors on iRacing's platform, gained a fair bit of time on the entry, and then some. He's more than a second ahead of the 17 car for the Illinois-based driver, one of the original iRacers from 2008.
He's putting on a show right now out here at the front of the field. He's got to keep an eye, though, as he's cycled around to second. His tires are 1 lap older than Christian Budd, who's less than a second behind him. Robert Gray in that 34 is the only one that hasn't pitted yet. Make it the 27. There he is down in the flat.
He's out of fuel.
Coming in this time. Yeah.
Gray's out of gas. Gray had tried to make it towards halfway. The furthest he can go, 22.5 laps, sitting nearly speeds on the entry. Of note, one driver has been booked for speeding this entire window. That's Timothy Latham, driving the number 12 machine. So Ryan Newman caught speeding. That means, in turn, with the 89 also having several issues, it's about 34 projected drivers in the lead lap after the window. Marcus Lindsay approaching the halfway in the race lead in what is, based on seeing that, a 2-stopper for sure.
Right, if he ran out of fuel 2 laps before halfway, even if he was saving, these guys can't make it unless we see a caution, and even then, I think they're still going to come on to pit road because tires are just so important here.
Exactly, and it takes a massive amount of skill to be able to save enough gas in the first place to make it to halfway with the amount of clutch and coasting, the amount of time that can be lost there. But right now, Marcus Lindsay, he's leading by 0.3 of a second over Christian Budd. 2 Roush Fenway Racing drivers looking to battle it out, but look who's coming behind. Roberts is coming, Doucette is coming. Solis Jr. and Doucette are also coming, along with Mauricio, Holzer, Campbell, Pace, and Butler, all of them on fresher tires, for the most part, than Lindsay.
And Christian Budd 0.2 faster that last time around. Dylan Roberts in that 3rd spot in the 8 Dale Jr. machine. He sits just behind them as well, about a second and a half behind the race leader. But here comes Budd round the outside. The gap 0.2 of a second, almost 1/10 of a second off the corner.
Keep an eye on Budd. Marcus Lindsay, expect him to try and hold on towards the top possibly. This time elects to do so towards now the middle top. Budd trying to peek to the outside for the race lead. Just couldn't get the grip down to be able to get the run quite yet as well with that air in front of him from that valence.
Yeah, Marcus Lindsay took his line away, which I think was the smart decision. He's going to go back to the outside, and Bud says, all right, I'll go to the bottom, and I'll pass you that way. They'll go side by side through 3 and 4, and they'll be dead even coming to the line. Looks like Lindsay's just going to beat him out to start-finish.
And remember, this is a track very much known when it comes to its finishes for having drag races just like this over the years. Battle on the bottom for Christian Budd with the tires, trying to hold on to the grip. Lindsay with the better run once again gets clear. They have about a 0.9 of a second cushion for now over the top driver in the power rankings after the opening races, Dylan Roberts, and the points leader, Nicholas Doucette. Lindsay again up top, keeps the 17 low.
Still side by side, and Lindsay again leads that lap. In fact, he had a little bit more of an advantage that time at the line. So I think this is going to work out for Lindsay just because he's forcing Christian Budd to use a little bit more of that right front tire by dropping down the white line.
And that, again, is such a difficult place to get moves done here at this racetrack. Old generations and new generations alike. The top line, the defensive line. Lindsay nearly getting loose on corner exit, and their buffer is just about gone. Roberts is now within 7/10 of Christian Budd and has the draft, with Nicholas Doucette working with them.
Yeah, the fact that these top two are battling it out, teammates between Lindsay and Budd in the Roush Fenway Racing Machines, that's opened the door. But now Doucette is trying to get by Roberts here. That could open the door for the other Doucette, Ryan Doucette, who sits in the 5th position in the Robbie Gordon machine.
See them running the bottom, trying to follow the same line as Christian Budd currently. Doucette has taken a couple peeks to the bottom in 1 and 2, but not fully quite yet. Best run for the 24 coming on corner exit. Not going to take the peak. Does take the bottom line, as he'll just round the bottom side. Roberts, will he be cleared? Almost. Doucette thought about it. As they battle side by side in front, they're still gaining. It's now 2x2 for third and for the lead.
This is great stuff here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Even though the tires may not have any grip, these guys are putting on an incredible show. And it looks like the 8 of Roberts got another good launch here on corner exit. He clears himself and takes back over that 3rd spot.
So that's just behind the race leader, still side by side once again for the 6 and the 17. Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth scrapping it out. Marcus Lindsay, Christian Budd in the virtual world looking to scrap it out as well here with 18 to go. Keep in mind, pit window opening around this lap. This is around that mark, the first run. They came into pit. Lindsay working the wheel.
Ooh, Dylan Roberts got a little sideways right behind. I thought that was going to open the door for Nicholas Doucette, but instead he stays right back in line. It's a 5-car train. I've never seen anything like this on the sim that reminds me of 2001 Atlanta until right now. This is unbelievable.
One of the best examples when it comes to real-world action around this time. How about Carl Edwards, Jimmy Johnson? Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. Pit window now open. Moments ago, Campbell came in for the undercut. Marcus Lindsay opens up the window for the leaders. But with Christian Budd moving high, that's cost him all the buffer. Lindsay nearly speeds it. Does keep it below the speed limit, however.
He almost put it in the wall. I thought he was going to spin it out in through the grass, which would have cost him all the time. Roberts in the wall in turn 1. The 24 of Doucette slides up. Here comes the other Doucette. They are all over each other on these ancient tires, all behind Christian Budd.
Freshest tires in the group, Doucette and Doucette. They're side by side. Budd has indicated he needs to pit. Ryan Doucette coming in with them, and there goes Dylan Roberts. Boxed in, coming in with them as well. So those drivers now win. Nicholas Doucette going for the overcut again.
We'll see how this works out for that 24. For his sake, he may want a caution here, Justin, if he wants to really have a shot. I'm not sure he's going to be okay. It looks like he's going to come in this time. I'm not sure he's going to have a shot with the win with the overcut here.
We've seen the undercut work out fairly well if you've got yourself amongst the top 5 drivers. Doucette avoids major contact with valence, and in comes the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports DuPont Chevrolet. Solis Jr. going for the overcut, it's worth noting. He did hit the wall a couple laps ago with the right rear quarter panel. Solis Jr. not having fun here today, where he's been quick on most of the air circuits this season so far.
Watching the leaders, I don't know if you just saw that, Marcus Lindsay just blew by everybody going into turn number 3 as Budd and Doucette and everybody else was trying to get off of pit road. As we got one car spawn down on the apron, it's the 14 that's around of Huff. He lost it trying to get to pit road. He keeps it going. We're 3 wide here for provisional 3rd spot with Budd. You've got the 19 in there of Campbell. You've got the 8 of Roberts, and here comes the 31. Mauricio is there.
You also have now Nicholas Doucette joining the fray as he clings onto the back end of the draft. But as you said, the net leader, Marcus Lindsay, who has a lap car as a buffer between them two, and Alex Bates, who had that spin under green before. 2x2 now battling for position. Lindsay right now, in terms of those who have pit so far, has about a 1.1 second buffer over Ryan Doucette, who has made his call work out well in the 7. Look at this clear, though.
Roberts got really loose. Oh, and Bud did the same thing. Almost came up, and now he's got the lap car right in the way. He's going to have to split him, and Bates just bails on out of this. He wants nothing to do with the leaders right now.
Bates trying to back as far away as he can from this fight. Solis Jr. has sacrificed the race lead and come on in. Logan Kress yet to pit, as well as Ali Osman and Brendan McGee. Those are the only drivers who are in front of the leader on the pylon who have not come down to the pit lane so far. Campbell scrapes a bit of the wall.
Man, oh man, these guys are all over the place. So Solis is on pit road, Solis Jr. right now. So just 3 cars left. Well, McGee's there right now, so it's Kress on pit road as well. So Osman's the only one left. Osman is the only one that has not pitted. So things are all but cycled around right now as we are at 12 laps to go.
Ali Osman's free as he looks to try and hope for the caution. Lindsay hopes that isn't the case because he's got a big buffer over the Hornet's Nest. Doucette is within a second. Christian Budd, Zach Campbell, Dylan Roberts amongst the top runners on the circuit. And now it becomes the question, does Ryan Doucette have enough time to find a way around Lindsay with 11 laps to go?
I think it's going to be pretty tough, but you got to keep in mind, especially that Ryan Doucette, is on 1 lap older tires. So he's really going to have to save if he wants to give anything to that 6 machine. Otherwise, I think it may fall into the lap of Christian Budd, who is on the same, I was looking at the wrong thing. There we go. So Lindsay, he's actually on 1 lap older tires than both Doucette and Budd. So maybe there's a chance. 10 to go.
Final 10 laps for the Golden Corral 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Doucette trying to run the bottom line right now. Lindsay preferring the middle line in clean space. No traffic ahead to factor in. Osman yet to come down, keep in mind. Expect that to change, though, the next couple laps or so. Amongst the drivers with the freshest tires in the lead grouping, Solis Jr. did cycle amongst the top 10, and he has 5 lap fresher tires than everybody else in the pack. The problem is, he would also have to try and pass 9 other cars, including some of those who have been fighting hard throughout this run, to have a shot to get up here. You see Doucette, meanwhile, he is starting to chomp in more and more. Last time, 10th and a half picked up.
Well, you talked about Jose Solis Jr. The only reason he's in the top 10, he only took 2 tires when he came onto pit road that last time. He did not take 4. So while, yeah, he's in the top 10, he's on 2 fresh tires and 2 not so fresh tires. So I'm sure that thing is a handful right now for the driver of the 11.
And you have to think, Jacob, that might be the gamble, hoping for the caution too. There is unlimited tire sets, remember, in this series.
It's possible if you can get lucky enough for the caution flag to fall your way. I gotta wonder if Osman is trying to go the distance here. 7 laps to go this time. I don't know how much the 25 is saved. He definitely clutching it here down into turn number 1. I don't know if it's gonna be enough though.
Remember, the furthest anyone has gone is about 22 and a half laps. He can't make it. He's gone 22 laps per run now for tonight. The previous run seen him pit on lap 22. And on lap 44, Ali Osman will sacrifice the race lead. Alex Bates also coming in to pit. And the window is now closed for the race in terms of scheduled stops. But now with 6 to go, who will be the driver who takes the victory in Atlanta? The pack is coming in quick. Lindsay, Doucette, Budd, Doucette are right there with 6 to go.
Yeah, I cast my doubt on Nicholas Doucette, but he's there now. He's almost caught Christian Budd. The only problem is he's got 6 laps to go, and he's got to pass 3 cars. Passing 1 might be easy. Not sure he's going to be able to pass 3 here in these last 6 laps.
going to be a major pressure-filled moment. Keep in mind, this track, with its throwing finishes, could have another one. When it came to real-world action here back in 2006, guess which driver finished in second? Div 1 Casey Kane, Mark Martin. Ryan Doucette looks to try and make that the same case tonight. Doucette with the peak with under 5 to go.
Yeah, Doucette all over the back door now, side by side behind between Bud and the other Doucette, that being Nicholas Doucette. But I mean, Ryan Doucette is doing everything but picking the rear tires up off the ground for Marcus Lindsay. Here he comes to the inside, side by side for the lead-off four.
Doucette tries to clear, gets loose. Better run for Lindsay. Lindsay holds on with 4 to go. Here comes Bud and Doucette side by side as well.
You got to be careful. You can't overdrive the car too much, because that's just going to open the door if you're squealing your tires up off the corner. But here comes Nicholas Doucette. Slides into third, right on the back door of the 7, as here comes Bud. He's going to cross him back over to turn 3.
Could this be another one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes? Ryan Doucette tries middle bottom. Nicholas Doucette pokes up top. Bud tries the bottom. 3 to go.
I think this is the best shot that Ryan Doucette has down here on the inside. He's going to have to send it in deep. He just needs that grip on corner exit. If he can hold it down coming up off the corner, he might have the shot. He's almost clear off the corner. Comes up, not quite. Still side by side.
Coming up to 2 to go. Lindsay still with a better pull. Doucette really letting it roll off to the corner. Can he get the run on the bottom of the banking? Here comes Nicholas Doucette with a peak. Almost got to the corner panel. Ryan Doucette leads his first lap of the day. 2 to go.
Ryan Doucette and Lindsay both got loose in 3 and 4. Here comes Nicholas Doucette. 3 wide for the lead through turn 1. Marcus Lindsay up and into the wall. It's a 2-car race as Lindsay saves it off the corner.
Christian Budd forced to check up. It's now Ryan Doucette and Nicholas Doucette. The Doucette and Doucette show. White flag waits up at the stand. Race is official. From that point forward, the next flag would end it, which would be the checkered. Ryan Doucette with a 1.2 second advantage. White flag is out.
Nicholas Doucette on 1 lap pressure tires. I think that might be too big of a gap, though, for him to make up. He's going to go all the way up by the outside wall. Ryan Doucette chooses the middle line. Let's see what kind of a run that 24 is going to get down the back straightaway. I think he's just too far back.
Ryan Doucette trying to hit his marks for one final set of corners. He tries the middle line, gets loose. Nicholas Doucette can't get there. Ryan Doucette brings the number 7 to victory lane. He wins the Golden Corral 500. Nicholas Doucette second, Christian Budd third, Marcus Lindsay fourth, Dylan Roberts in the top 5 as a hard crash for Emily Howe with a contact for 14th with a 98 of Christina Ryan. What can I say, Jacob? That was definitely one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes, but not in the way we may have imagined.
For a track temperature that was as hot as lava, I cannot believe you went wire to wire without a caution. What a great race. What a great finish. These guys up at the front put on a show for us from beginning to end. Unbelievable.
And the first green flag to checker flag race in the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge in 2006, Ryan Doucette from 7th starting spot puts car 7 into victory lane. Ryan Doucette unofficially the race winner tonight, and a well-deserved smoke show to go with it. The unofficial race results on the board with Nicholas Doucette coming in second, Christian Budd, Marcus Lindsay, Dylan Roberts the top 5. When referencing the top 5 from that year, of note, 3 of the top 5 car numbers finished top 5 in real-world action in that year. Solis Jr. finished in 6th, then it was Gabriel Mauricio, Larry Pace in the 50, continuing to make Larry Foyt happy, with Sean Butler finishing in 9th. Zach Campbell, his undercut strategy, seen him get shuffled to 10th at the end.
Still able to gain 17 spots from the start of the green flag, so not a bad day for Zach Campbell. Sean Peleg finishes in the 11th position. Thomas Lewandowski finishes in 12th. Dustin Montgomery in 13th. Emily Howe 14th. Christina Ryan finishes in the 15th position. Casey Carrington finishes in 16th. John Schwartz finishes in 17th. Alex Kolinix in 18th. Logan Kress in 19th. And Brendan McGee rounds out our top 20.
21st spot goes the direction of Brandon McKissick, who missed the drop of the green flag, but still brought the number 42 of Casey Mears for Chip Ganassi Racing to 21st. Anthony Krobach finished 22nd after a slide down the front stretch. Ali Osman, his strategy called to go as far as he could, got him to 23rd, just one spot ahead of where he started. Philip Snipes at one point fought for a top 10 position. He dropped to 24th in the end. Parker Alexander 25th. Bosvart finished in 26th. James Holzer and Kyle Kraus rounded out the lead lap cars. Of note, Kyle Kraus did so while overshooting his pit stall under green. Alex Bates and Leandro Barrera rounded out the top 30. A shout out to the 23, first made start of the season in the Bill Lester paint scheme.
Finishing 31st, Justin Round in the Kevin Harvick machine, one lap down. Timothy Latham, he had a good run going, but just fell a couple laps down. Finishes in the 32nd position. Ken Huff, we saw him have his pit road issues early on, I think, on that last stop. He finishes 33rd. Robert Gray did not finish in 34th. Aaron Smith did not finish in 35th. And Hayden Repas did not finish in the 36th and final position.
Rough race for Repas indeed in the 89 machine, but all the drivers are standing by for what should be an interesting post-race show today. But first, from virtual victory lane, it was a thriller, and it was Ryan Doucette who took the victory late. 3 laps led on the day for the number 7. How does it feel to bring Robbie Gordon to victory lane in 2006?
It feels good. That was I definitely had to earn that one. That was real tough competition with Marcus there at the end. Marcus and Nick.
Sincerely apologize on behalf of Ryan Doucette for the language in the backdrop for him, as we apologize for that language. Ryan, talk us through, though, that fight with Marcus Lindsay. Final laps coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I thought for sure I was going to have to get it done on the top, but I spent about like a lap and a half on the bottom, and I finally saw him get loose coming off 4, and I was able to make my move to finally get back to the top in front of him in the 1. And once I got the top, I had a good amount of confidence that I was going to be able to hold off Nick. I thought my tires were just a little bit better.
Now with that, a big momentum boost for you, as you had shown consistency for parts of the season, but were amongst just the top 15 in points, second time overall when inside the top 5 in general. Huge chance to move up the standings once things go officialized. Your thoughts for the second half of the season, though, in the Gen 4 Challenge for spring?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to next week at Bristol. It's one of my favorite tracks. I didn't think I would win here at Atlanta. This is generally a track that I've struggled with, but the loose setup and my good qualifying position, or my halfway decent qualifying position, really helped me take the win here, I guess. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Bristol and really the rest of the season battling it out with these guys.
Well, Ryan, a stellar run for you tonight to win the 2006 edition of the Golden Corral 500. Congratulations on bringing this machine home. And don't forget that billboard in turns 3 and 4. It just so happens to be your car sponsor for tonight.
Quite the coincidence. But yeah, thanks for putting on the broadcast, guys. You always do a great job. All the WINSTEL admins, everybody for racing me clean. And that about wraps it up.
That was Ryan Doucette, your race winner tonight in the Harris machine. And of course, that's in reference to the billboard setup, about 126 or so miles away from Atlanta. One driver who is about 1 foot away is the driver who finished second in the Doucette and Doucette show. Also, that could be subtitled The Gordon and Gordon Show. It was Nicholas Doucette bringing the Jeff Gordon number 24 Hendrick Motorsports DuPont Chevrolet to second spot tonight. He's with Jacob.
Nicholas, one heck of a show. Is there anything you could have had for Ryan there coming to the stretch?
One or two more laps, I think. I pitted about one lap after everyone else did there on that last stretch, and that one lap made the world of difference. I just had a little bit extra grip than they had, and I noticed that I was able to make to roll the bottom better than anyone else really could there throughout the race. So I would throw it into turn one and hope I could clear them center exit and just slide up in front of them, and that's how I was trying to make all my passes there on that final run. But no, when we went, I think it was 3 to go or 2 to go, when we went 3 wide into turn one, I knew it would be a close one between Ryan and I. And no, I coming off of turn 4 to take the white flag, I slid the right rear a little too hard. Lost some grip, and it just ruined my run there for the final lap. But no, that was an amazing race.
No cautions tonight. Were cautions built into your strategy at any point throughout the night?
It's funny you ask that, because this is the first caution-free race we've done this season on no question the hardest setup we've had so far. I hope you guys used some in-car cameras for us throughout the race, because we were turning to the right more than we were turning to the left. It was that loose, but I did plan on there being a bunch of cautions. I did practice a full fuel run during our practice, but I was mainly focusing on hot lapping, because I just thought we were going to pace throughout the most of the race. But no, all the drivers put on a great show for our viewers tonight, and I think we all really enjoyed it.
Something a little bit different come next week, Bristol. So we go from 1.5 miles to a half mile. I have a feeling we're going to see a couple more cautions there next week, don't you think?
Oh yeah. With this new damage model enabled going to Bristol next week, I want to say that we won't, but I just feel like we're going to be under caution there for a good part of the race.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish, and we will see you next week from Bristol Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
Nicholas Doucette, second place finisher tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Justin?
Correct myself real quick. When it came to that number referred to, it's 107 laps away. That's up at the billboard when it comes to that. Here is advertisement off turn 4. But for Christian Budd, third spot tonight. Christian, talk us through your night, because you're in the conversation with the race lead from step 1 of the night.
Yeah, well, Thomas Lewandowski put down a heck of a lap, beat everybody by a tenth, and I think we were all running top 1 and 2, and he must run the bottom of 1 and 2 or something, because I really thought I had a first pole of the year going there for a little bit. But I wanted to be really aggressive early and try and get up there, get to the lead, and did that. Led the first third of the race or whatever. But unfortunately, just didn't do the best job, I don't think, on pit road, getting on or especially getting off, apparently. Almost spun out leaving pit road on that second stop. So probably hurt me a little bit. And then once I got behind, had a good battle with Marcus there, but just could not get by him on the bottom. So, that really shows you what kind of drivers these guys are. All really clean, really fun to race with tonight. And obviously, congrats to Ryan on that win.
And keep in mind, even when you factor in the second pit stop window, first green flag race, green flag to checkered of the season, no caution flags. It was talked about by Nicholas Doucette where he was factoring in the potential of cautions. How did it going green and having to think about the fuel strategy factor in as well, knowing based on the fact that the furthest anyone could go was 22.5 laps, it was a 2-stopper?
Yeah, I mean, I always just kind of plan for the race to go green. Obviously this season so far we haven't had that, but it's kind of a traditional thing in WINSTEL that we get a lot of green flag laps and a lot of green flag races. So I always just plan for it. And then if something happens and you get a caution, and you change your strategy based on that. And I had a pretty good idea what I wanted to do. I really toyed with taking 2 tires there at the end and thought maybe I could get out ahead a little bit, but ultimately I decided against that. And I don't know, it might have worked. It's hard to say, but really happy to see a green flag run. These races aren't that long, so when you start piling those yellows on, it gets a little frustrating. But to be able to run green like that the whole time and fight these cars the whole time was really fun.
Well, short track racing's up next, and of course, it's worth noting, expected to be very cold at Bristol for that one. Your opinions on what short track racing will be like with this machine for your drivers you'll be racing against as one of the championship favorites as a result of tonight's run?
Well, there's two things. First of all, I think it's going to be a little bit different experience next week. If you like a tighter setup, that's what you're probably going to get at Bristol. So you may see some guys who've been struggling a little bit with these loose ones that are up front a little more there. And as far as the race goes, it's really up to the drivers. I mean, if they drive like they did tonight and they show respect and they give each other room, then we don't have to have, 20 cautions in a 100-lap race. But, if they want to run each other over and pace the whole time, then that's what we're going to end up with. So it's really in our hands. And I think that, we will have a setup that can race there. We've worked really hard on all these setups all year. And, with good reason and with hopefully seeing this kind of result every week where we see just really amazing racing.
Well, with that, Christian, congratulations on your run. A stellar finish once more here at Hotlanta.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Once again, that's Christian Budd. Top 5 of the point standings entering tonight. Expect that to get ever more challenging throughout the rest of this campaign. I'd like to thank Christian Budd, Nicholas Doucette, Ryan Doucette for taking the time to speak with us. Now, Jacob, first of all, your final thoughts on what we've seen here tonight at Atlanta, as talked about a bit by the drivers and mentioned, first time this season for 2006, the race has gone green flag to checkered with no yellows.
Yeah, it's really cool to see these guys just take it the full distance. I don't think we're going to see that next week, considering we're going to Bristol, perhaps the complete opposite of this place. It's pretty single groove. You're going to see a lot of bumping and beating and banging to try and get by each other. And ultimately, people are going to get turned, people are going to get upset, feelings are going to get hurt, and maybe somebody's going to keep their helmet on and do a two-handed shove on pit road after the race. You never know.
Well, you never know indeed when it comes to Bristol Motor Speedway, because to say it politely, it's Bristol, baby. But with that, it's going to get intriguing how the next portions of the season will go. As mentioned, second half of the campaign making its way onto the calendar next time around. Keep in mind that it will be a doubleheader night for FTF competition on FTF.gg because it is Sunday action for FTF Cup Series competition. That means the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge will be 30 minutes earlier, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for the Food City 500. Again, catch that on FTF.gg and stay tuned afterwards to watch the FTF's Cup Series competition with their next race on the calendar. But with that, it's time to say goodbye. We'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's action from iRacing's virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. For my broadcast partner tonight, it is Jacob Hitz. For our producer, Ian Zach Johnson, my name is Justin Prince. Saying so long, enjoy the rest of your night. You've been watching the WINSTEL Gen 4 Challenge in the Golden Corral 500 2006, where Ryan Doucette is your winner from Hotlanta.